everybody, it's me, Please Fill in the Game, and I'm here today with a special video today, celebrating my Retrostudio game, R.E.D. 9, hitting 100 players. And to celebrate this, I'm going to make a video dissecting and explaining how my game works. Because before Retrostudio got out of beta with block scripting, this game is entirely made out of the free models in the toolbox. So, yeah, I'd say it'll make for a pretty fascinating video, how games work before block scripting was out. So, yeah, let's go ahead. Don't forget to play the game if you haven't already, because this might spoil a bit. But it'll be fine. It's just part 1 for now. So yeah, just play the game. Just pause the video and play the game. It won't be very long. So, anyways, without further ado, let's explain how the game works. Let's make everything bright, and yeah, let's dive in. So, beginning on how the game works, let's start on with these holes. So, this is where the player spawns in. They'll be placed in these, holes, and they'll fall into these checkpoint scripts. For players that has not played the game and just joined for the very first time, they'll be placed in the 0, which is the very first checkpoint that the game places players, and they'll fall into the next checkpoint, and then they'll be added one level to their obby checkpoint, and they'll always spawn here when they die in the actual game. Oh yeah, I need to also explain how I do this. So this is what I'd call a blinder. It's actually a mesh. Yeah, it's a new part mesh, which is the vector. No, it's the color free brick. So in the color free brick system mesh, which I basically just inverted the scale in the negatives so that you can look inside, but when you go inside, you can't see anything outside. It's a pretty cool mesh trick. So yeah, back on point. When the player falls through this, they'll fall through the stat givers, which will give them the stats. Jump point, the jump power will give them will actually get rid of them get rid of them the ability to jump, because I want to make it the part of the game. And health regen setter will get rid of their health regeneration when they're playing the game, so that they'll have to they'll have to play carefully and not take damage. But if they do, there's bandages and other healing items, which I'll get onto later. So when they fall through the stat givers, they'll fall into these battle armors, which I'll explain later, and then they'll hit the stat teleporter, which will not really take away any of their stats. It'll instead teleport them to the lobby here, where they can pick what level they want to go to. For now, there's just one, of course. So yeah, when they go through this door, they'll be teleported. They'll be teleported to this room here, which will give them two options: to play the cutscene, or just skip the cutscene and play the game instead, just to as a time-saving mechanism. So yeah. By the way, the decal here is actually made by me. actually just dropped a red ink on a paper and then I captured it with my phone. And so yeah, that's that. So let's say the player wants to see what the cutscene is. So they'll be teleported over here, where I know what this looks like, and I don't wanna go more on it. Just the player will be placed right here, where is where a bunch of conveyor belts will walk the player over these show message scripts, show message parts, which contains the dialogue for the cutscenes. They also play noise, depending on if it's accurate to what's happening right now. There's also a different color just to show me what part of the cutscene has sound or not. So yeah, this is very primitive. After all, this is made before block scripting, so I'll be pretty interested to see how I could improve the cutscene part of the game with this, with block scripting. So yeah, so anyways, moving on. When the player walks, when the conveyor belt pushes the player all to the end, this is where the player will be teleported to. They pick the part. They pick play game instead. So yeah, the player will fall through this funnel and will reload or regenerate everything in the game, and then they'll fall through here, which is a stat teleporter, and which will teleport the player to the play area. It'll also play a sound, but most players will probably not hear it. There's also a gear giver here somewhere. There should be somewhere here. There it is. So yeah, this will give the player the main weapon they'll have. The first weapon they'll have in the game, which is a pistol, which is a flashlight. There's I'll show off how the gear works. The gears works later. But for now, let's just move on to the functionalities of part 1. So yeah, starting off on the first gate spook, which is a sequence when the player goes through this broken door here, and a creepy figure will slowly glide through the scene and out of frame behind the wall and disappears. So how this works is that a trigger or a regeneration pad will regen this part here, which is a battle armor, and here. So if the player dies, this applies to all the other systems, to all the other functionalities of the game. So if the player dies, they'll respawn here and then touch every single cleaner of all worlds. I don't know why I named it that, but it's just flashy, I guess. Anyways, yeah, moving on. They'll regenerate everything in the battle armor with two enemies here and there, and a humanoid model, which is over to that hole there. I'll go on that later. Let's move on to the creepy figure that walks through the hall. So when the player goes through the the gate, it'll regenerate this battle armor, and uh, it'll also regenerate this uh, this battle armor here, which will have the Gasher statue, and it'll also have the walker here, which will slide the statue slowly across over here, and eventually the humanoid here will slowly glide over here and will touch the battle armor here, and it'll basically delete the Gasher statue and the walker as well, and only them. So yeah, that's how it works. Just a fun little spook for anyone observant enough to see the Gasher statue, which will hopefully creep them a little bit more. Yeah, moving on. So let's continue with the second gate boom. So this works. So let's start off with the trigger. So this is the area where it will like trigger the whole sequence where the wrecker over here. Ignore all these dudes; they'll come in later. So anyways, it's a sequence where the wrecker will dash through the door and blast the door all the way to the other side of the room. It's like a jump scare kind of thing, and this works by this will trigger by the player walking over to the trigger here, which will delete all the holders here. Which will delete all the holders here. There's 2 holders here just to hold the door from falling off, and these holders here to hold the wrecker from just dashing through when it isn't supposed to, and these 2 holders here, which holds these 2 Gashers from following the wrecker. So yeah, let's see how the wrecker dashes and what happens after that. So when all the holders are deleted, the wrecker will fall down to the walker here, which is a very fast conveyor belt that will fling or dash the wrecker through the door, and wrecks the gate open. There's also a couple more holes or holders just to make sure that the wrecker goes where it's supposed to be. And the fake door it's actually a fake door, of course, judging by the title, of course, and it works by the hitbox welding every other part to it with the perfection weld script, which is a smaller part just to not make it too heavy that the wrecker can push through it. And another fun thing is that the hitbox also has a kill brick script. So if the player gets you know in the way, that just sucks, I guess. That's a game over for the player. So yeah, better be on your wits on this. So yeah, player goes through. So yeah, wreckers goes through, and a countdown, which is over here, will start, and we'll slide the humans. We'll slide the humanoid over to the battle armor here, which is the cleaner, and it'll delete the fake door and the walker and the hole and the holes. Holes is very hard word to say. Anyways, moving on to the gashers that follow through. Of course, these two holders will get deleted, and another walker will walk them to it. Where's the walker? I forgot. Oh yeah, there's also this thing here. There's also these three things here: the B and the ooms, which is a part sound player, which will play an explosion sound when it goes through, and a where's it? And a dart, and another battle armor script here will delete this light here. Appears to be broken because the gate just got ran over. Back to the two gashers. There's a walker here that will walk the two gashers over here and out of the gate. There's also two funnels here, just in case the gashers get stuck. There's also a failsafe where if the player is speedrunning the game, it'll also delete when the player gets to the gate already. So yeah, that's about it for the second gate boom. It's a pretty complex system. It took me about, like, I don't know, 3 days to figure it out. So yeah, it's a pretty difficult task to make a automated system with just battle armor and regeneration pads alone. So yeah, let's move on, I guess. So yeah, moving on to the third door's jump scare, which is a gasher clawing through the door here. So yeah, there's a cleaner or a trigger here, where if the player steps over it, the gasher will barges through the door. Let me find the door a bit. Oh yeah, there's also a banger. For some reason it doesn't play. With blockers thing, I'm probably going to fix that issue. Grr is also here. Okay, there's the fake door. So the fake door works a lot as the door over here, just that it's a bit smaller. So yeah, and as also doesn't damages the player. There's also a thing in there called the bandage. It's the only healing item in the game for now. It heals the player, but There's also a special animation that plays when you actually bandage it, which I'll go back to later. So yeah, that's about it for the third door jump scare. Pretty simple. And now for the fourth part of the game, which is the killer chase. For some reason the corroded metal is really ugly, but I'm sure in the game is you know, better looking. So anyways, yeah, it works a lot like this. There's 4 sequences to this. One is the sound triggers, which will, you know, scare the player from advancing, but they'll have to. Actually, it's not even forced. It's actually optional. So the player could just, you know, go to the vent already and skip this whole part of the game. So yeah. So anyways, this sound trigger, which will delete this holder here, which will make the killer advance and touch the groan sound player here, which will make the killer, you know, groan and spook the player even more. And if the player still goes through with it, they will touch this trigger here, which will cue the sequence where the killer breaks through this, which will delete these holders, and let them chase the player. There's also a dialogue here. I don't know why it's there. What? Why is it a... Oh yeah, okay, it's so you see, when the player touches this, it's actually a dialogue here, which is a the vent dialogue. So let's say that the player doesn't go here and instead comes back and go to the vent. There's 2 dialogues here. One is a calm dialogue and the other is a panic dialogue. So when the player steps through this trigger, the hell, my bad. So when the player steps through this trigger, it'll delete the calm dialogue and just skips to the panicking dialogue, which is in here. I'll go back to that later. I don't want to spoil it for now. So yeah, let's also decide also a quick little secret as well. If the player you know, catches the gun, the dead guy's gun here, they will be given a secret gun. So a secret gun. Well, not really secret. They just dual wield it. It just deals insane damage and stuff, and other cool stuff. They'll make you be able to kill the killer, basically. So yeah. Anyways, moving on to the go is actually another regen pad here, where if the player steps on it, it will regenerate all of the enemies inside here. And when the there's also a walker's fang, which is a fancy word for, you know, fake or stuff like that. there's a like another cleaner here. So what's uh, what's 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 working here is that in the cleaner there's a walker, which walks all the enemies to the to where the player is supposed to be, and also stops them from being stuck to the door here, and slides them and basically nudges them to the through the door to actually force the player to not just stay here and actually go. So yeah, there's two cleaners because this one will stop the walker from already walking the enemies to it, because they do have pretty far chasing range. So I don't want the player to have no chance of escaping. So there's another cleaner just for that to not happen. And the player will obviously go back and then touch a reloader here. Where is it? Here. So yeah, it'll regenerate the cleaners. So anyways, yeah, that's how it works. There's also a holder here for obviously precaution that the player actually somehow kills all these dudes, and goes here. I should probably add an Easter egg if that actually happens, but nah, I'm too lazy for that. And yeah, anyways, the player will basically being chased on both sides, a whole horde here, and another huge ass guy here also coming that way. So obviously the only way left to go is here, the vent. So yeah, that's where the panic dialogue will come in. It's basically just another dialogue where yeah, there's basically the same calm dialogue, but with free extra words. So yeah, let's move on to the fifth and final sequence of the game. Okay, so moving to the fifth and final sequence of the game, the ventilation area of the game. It's is the part where the player crawls through a maze of crawl through a vent maze, and while along there's also a couple of crawlers and such. So yeah, so first of all, the player will go here and touches and climbs up this ladder. The ladder also has trusses here to help the player climb up, and they will climb up, and touches the stat teleporter, which will bring them over here, where the player will fall into this stat thingy. There it is, which will remove their current pistol, because their pistol has a different stance, and this one is like the stance where they're crawling and stuff. Just as a cool little detail. There's also a walk speed setter, which will lower the player's walk speed because they're crawling and not walking. And yeah, when when they fall through the stat givers, they will now fall through either a calm dialogue or the panic dialogue. So I think I already explained that. So yeah, there's also the battle armor of all the other systems is also extended here to chop down lag, and then and then okay, that's the other part. And then the player will fall down here, which is a stat border, which will bring the player to the actual vent map. So how the vent works is pretty simple. The player will, spawn here, but the floor of the vent is non-collidable, so the player can move through it. But there's another floor down here, which will, stop the player from just falling through the void and stuff. So yeah, the player will go here. Spooky sound will play here. There's also supposed to be a dialogue here, but there's no. For some reason, it doesn't work. Probably because of the battle armor. The show message brick doesn't have a delay, so yeah, I kind of try to cope by using the battle armor script. So yeah, this is a very simple matter if I actually use block scripting, which didn't exist at the time. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but whatever. Here's the sound player, which plays a creepy sound. There's also the delay of it is also like 86,400 something seconds, which is basically a length of a full day seconds wise. So yeah. So the player will move through here through the vent, and then the crawlers are actually held by holders, because the crawlers have a very far chase range. So player could be any place, and the crawler will attempt to like get them, but since they're held by a holder, that won't help them. They'll still be in place where the player will go and get chased by them. And the holders will of course be triggered by these cleaners, which will get rid of the holders and let the crawler go free. This applies to every other crawler encounters, so yeah. So yeah, anyways, the player will crawl through the place, crawl through the maze, kill other crawlers, and then reach to the final part of the maze, which is this here, which is a room which has blood splattered, as to entice the player to go to there. But instead, the player will touch this cleaner here, which will get rid of this holder here, and they will fall through the holder and end up down there with this guy here, which is basically someone who calls out who I don't want to spoil it for now, because part 2 and all. Anyways, yeah, vent bottom, which is an actual part of the vent. When the player goes through, the holder will delete itself and the player will fall through with the vent bottom, which also has some scripts in it. Sets the player's walk speed to 1 and removes their pistol. It also plays a rumbling sound to notify the player that they are indeed falling through a vent. So yeah, when the player hits the floor, they will be teleported to the final part, to the final cutscene, which is here. So it's not very much. It's just free dialogue, which is basically the guy that we just saw earlier if anyone is you know attentive enough. So yeah, the player will be dragged here, down here, which is a stat teleporter, and it will bring the player over here, which is a checkpoint, the part 2 checkpoint, and yeah, that ends part 1 of the game. I'm really looking forward to remaking all this whole game with block scripting. There's also G Fuel here. That's a little dev assist for me. Yeah, you know what? I'll show you guys how to get it. Basically, at the first part of the game, if you go to this door here and say G full PLS, I'll put it as a like. I'll put the exact phrase. I'll edit in the exact phrase later. But yeah, if you say that, you can go through the door and touch this sign, which says some heresy. Just touch it and you'll get G Fuel, which just basically makes you go super fast. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. Wait, I almost forgot the tools of the game. So as you may know earlier, there's this bandage thing. There's when you use it, there's also another frame where like Nicholas pulls down his sleeve and start bandaging. It's basically just 2 frames, but whatever. It's very advanced at the time, so yeah, I'm pretty proud of the bandage. It works a lot like this. Let me just zoom to the actual part of the bandage. There it is. There's also all the other guns of the in the game. So it works like this. Yeah. Hold on. Let me get this as a sample. This is the guy that I used to help me with how the arms look and stuff. Let me just make the handle visible. There we go. Now let's drag the guy here. Come on. You know what? That's good enough. Actually, that's perfect. Wow. Just back up. And there we go. So anyways, yeah. The player will look. This is the player's point of view. It looks like they're holding the bandage. So yeah, that's the idle state of the bandage. And when the player uses it, the Bloxy Cola script, the drinking tool rip of the Bloxy Cola script will make it so that the handle go way above the ceiling and bring up this bandaging frame, and hold on, it's basically like this. The handle, which is here, and the player here just go above, and the player will see this instead. So yeah, that's a pretty clever trick that I used. And yeah, I'm also going to show how the enemies work as a little bonus. There's also Crawl at the bottom, which is named by Waze. Oh yeah, and Waze, I hope that quick rundown on how the bandage works finally satisfy you. Please do not DM me on how it works again. Like, please, dude, I'm very annoyed about that. So anyways, on with how the enemies work. As you can see, the gasher works a lot like the zombies that like the zombie that I made in the weld script tutorial. You got your connector and your hitbox. Yeah, there's a hitbox, which is the damaging area of the zombie. So yeah, if the player gets too near, it actually damages them instead of you just perpetually like just 1 inch away from actually damaging the player. So yeah, There's also like a GUI script, but I forgot to, paste it into Gasher, so I'll take this Gasher here as an example. There it is. So yeah, let's go inside his torso. Actually, yeah, it's not in his torso because I realized that any part that is in the torso will not, fall through the floor and into the void and delete itself. And that's bad because the hitbox will still be there and it will still damage the player if they step on it. So yeah, instead the head does fall through the void and does delete itself. So yeah, I put the hitbox in there. Yeah, as you see, the time GUI script is here, which will, toggle the hurt screen here. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Just flashes every time you get hit by them. Pretty cool. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let me just show off one more, un un on let me show you guys one more enemy, which is the sniper. Right now is he's very unfinished, but basically the whole point of this guy is, instead of moving to you and attacking you, he instead, shoots you and attack you from afar. This is supposed to be I, but because of the way that materials work in studio, it's just, it just looks like that. But I promise it's an eye, and it actually looks cool. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, it works like the ranged enemy, and it's supposed to work like the ranged enemy that I made in the ranged enemy tutorial. So yeah, but instead there's that. So yeah, but instead, because of block scripting, because that block scripting is out, I'm excited to see how I could, make it so that it does that, like with block scripting instead, because it's probably going to be a more efficient system, So yeah. All right. I don't know what else to show you guys on this room here, which is the room that I use to show off the bandaging animation. I'll probably reuse this room to show off as a test place to test NPCs instead of just putting them on this roof here. Just put it in this actually well lit room. But anyways, yeah. I don't know what else to show you guys, which I think this will mark the end of the video. So yeah, very excited to completely remake this whole game with block scripting. And yeah, I hope this video has been pretty entertaining. I hope it also provides a cool little insight as to how games worked back then, before block scripting was out, and before Retrostudio was still in beta. So yeah, that's about it, I guess. Peace.